Can you talk about some considerations as someone's looking at their first 5 or 10K, maybe even first half marathon, that they should consider looking into before they get started?
Absolutely. I would say the first thing is really understanding, what is the pace limits? Like what is the pace cutoffs for this particular race? And then that way you can understand, all right, where are you at physically to understand if, you're either going to have a good time with this pace cutoff or you're going to have what I like to call a bad time with this pace cutoff. So like I think that's the first thing that you think about. And then you ask yourself, all right, can you do it within this pace time? The answer is yes, great. If the answer is maybe, all right. Now let's see what happens to the runners who fall behind the pace limit. Do they let you continue to run? Do they put you on a sidewalk? Do you put you on a bus? You really need to understand like what is the ramifications if you don't make it to the finish line in the allotted time. And then you have to ask yourself, are you okay with those ramifications? Are you okay with having to run on the sidewalk because they're opening the streets up? Are you okay with getting on the bus because they're like, hey, like the race is over, you gotta get on this bus because this thing is done? Are you okay with that? I know for some people, like they'll be devastated if they're participating in their first race and the bus is like, hey, you're too slow. Like we got to open this course up. You got to get on this bus. We're sorry, but your race is over with. And some people will be devastated. They might not even run it ever again. So making sure that they understand like what are the ramifications if you don't make it to the finish line in that certain time period. And then I think, there are other ancillary things that you can also think about. You know, the time of day the race start. Like, is it a morning race? Is it a night race? I think about for longer distances, say, you're training for a half marathon or a marathon, are you training for a spring marathon, which means you're going to have to train throughout the winter? Or are you training for a fall marathon, which means you have to train throughout the summer? And those have their own ramifications as well, whether you're training throughout the summer months. And, I don't know if you're down south or whatever, but like that's something you also need to think about as well. And also think about like the last thing is for individuals who enjoy traveling to races, how easy is it to get to that particular place? So, for example, I went to a race in Montana. I live in New York City. You would think out of all the places that would be a straight shot or a non-stop plane to Montana to New York City because it's one of the busiest cities in the world. That wasn't the case, and I end up getting delayed on a stop and all types of things that goes along with that. So it's also understanding where are you going and like what does the airfare looks like or the travel look like to get there as well.